Jasmine Brooks with Cascade Sports, and here I have Kiersten Harper, a friend of mine, someone that I personally have played volleyball with and have really gotten to know. And so, Kiersten, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am 28 years old. I am a high school math teacher and still slightly new to the Kansas City area. Did not grow up here. I've only lived here for 4 years, so still getting used to everything.
What brought you to Kansas City?
Teaching, my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can imagine like being 28 and you're with high schoolers, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm assuming like they probably think you're almost like their friend.
Always. I was literally having this conversation with some of my coworkers this morning about how I can't wait to be older so that they don't see me as a friend or a sister.
Yeah. No, I think that's like the beauty of being young and being with teenagers is like they feel like they can relate to you, but I can
Yeah.
also imagine some of the challenges that come with that.
Oh, yeah.
So a little bit that we really want to know about too is can you like tell us your journey of being like a young coach, a female coach, in the sport of volleyball and what your experience has been like?
So I coached for one season. I've never been a coach before. It was an opportunity that came up, and I was like, let's see kind of what this is about, what coaching is about. And the only thing I would want to coach is volleyball. It's the only thing I know about.
Mhm.
It's the only sport that I really ever played besides basketball, which no. So, I mean, I was really excited to have the opportunity. So I ended up being the assistant varsity coach at the high school. Um, and the interesting thing was I was the only person that was a coach that worked in the school building.
Mm.
So I literally became mom for every girl. And they were expected to stay with me in my classroom after school. They kept all their stuff in my classroom. Um, so I got very close with the girls very fast. So, I mean, in a good way though.
Yeah. Well, you said you're the only coach that was in the building. So you had a different kind of relationship with them than the other coaches, right?
Oh yeah. And because the other coaches were not even in the building, they relied on me to be the only person on the bus.
Mm,
So I ended up being the only adult on the bus rides to all the places we went because the other coaches would have to come from their current jobs.
gotcha. So
Yeah.
could you like tell us a little bit about like what your experience was balancing being the like the mothering, like nurturing friend, like having that rapport, but then also you have to coach and you have to teach skill that is ultimately going to produce um winning was what we
Right.
all hope for in high school. So what was that
Right.
experience like?
Um, it's a lot like being a teacher. You have to have some kind of relationship. You have to build the trust of the kids before they are going to want to do anything for you.
Mhm.
And if they even have a scent that you don't actually care, they're done and your relationship is gone. And you will have to work 10 times harder to get it back. Because that's honestly what I ended up seeing with the girls. I had several girls, you know, break down with me because they said they felt like their specific coach, depending on what team they were, because I was kind of the overall team mom type coach instead of their specific team coach. And, they said, I feel like my coach doesn't care like you do. And so it was a lot of me trying to let them know, that my job is a little bit different than their specific coach. That doesn't mean that they don't care. But if they show it differently. And so when I was in the practices and when I was at like our tournaments and stuff, I was there and I was seen as the encourager. And I think as a coach, if you are not able to be an encourager, and a coach, you're not going to have anyone follow through with you.
No,
Because
that's
to the,
real.
yeah, to the kids at that age, like they deal with so much stuff outside of um just the game of volleyball or the game that they play on top of school. And a lot of them have jobs that they're balanced with. They have all kinds of stuff at home. And so what's um what's hard for them is to find someone who really wants to push them, but they know is always going to have their back even when they are struggling, and they'll work 10 times harder for you.
That is so true. It's like you hear some of the coaches in college that have really high expectations, but they really push their kids, but they have great relationships. That is what, the girls
Mm-hmm.
or guys like rely on. Um,
Right.
what just like listening to you, what are some of the challenges, if any, have you faced with being a young female coach, especially with the high schoolers? And how did you overcome that?
Um, there were a lot of like reality checks we had to do. Because yes, I am close to your age. Yes, you guys probably have siblings my age. But even though I am not necessarily that much elder for
Hmm.
you, I still have way more wisdom than you do in life. Because especially once you get out of high school, those first 10 years or so, that is when you grow the most, I feel like, as a person. And so they just don't have that yet. And so it's a matter of, okay, yes, you're grown, but come to me when you pay bills and you go through the normal changes that an adult has to go through, because then you can come talk to me the way you want to talk to me.
No, that's
But you're
very true.
still a child. Like
Still a
reality
child.
check. You're a child.
Your frontal lobe is not fully developed yet.
Not even close. No, no.
Can you like, I think that's like the beauty of volleyball and just sports in general. Like it creates a space to have like these conversations about mentorship that has still nothing to do with the skill and the
Oh yeah.
actual playing component. But it like is the part that I think lasts a lifetime, and it's like the little seeds that are planted in the
It
future.
is. Yeah. And um even after season was done, girls that I never even had in my class were still coming to me about anything that was happening in their lives.
Mhm.
Like, people do not realize, especially for teenagers, that having an adult, like an actual adult, not I'm grown, an actual adult that listens and is not trying to tell you what to do all the time is huge for them, because they want guidance not only on the court but off the court. And if all you do is talk at teenagers, they're going to shut down and be gone.
Mm,
You're not going to get anywhere. You have to reciprocate that, and you have to listen to them, or they, like I said, they're going to shut down, because most adults in kids' lives talk at them.
mm.
If you want to get through with teenagers, especially high school age teenagers, like, you have to be willing to listen sometimes.
I really like what you said about like talking at them and then talking with them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like what are some, I guess, stories that you have of where that type of relationship was able to help you connect with them, um, that ultimately like worked in your favor?
Um, they're, of course, coaching a sport with females. There's always issues, especially when everyone syncs up. And so
And
it
how many
gets,
girls did you have?
I think we had like 20, 28 or so,
Three teams or two teams?
3 teams. So not only do we have these grown girls, we have these girls that I am going to act like a child. but I'm going to tell you what I think because I'm grown. So,
Mm.
I mean, specifically some of the instances I'm thinking about is like when we went to the licking camp in the summer, and I mean, there were just the four of us coaches as adults, and that was it, taking care of our mainly varsity girls at that camp. And these varsity girls have been playing together for the 4 years. They all had been together. And when you're with people all that kind of time, a lot of them played club together. And we just have little arguments that
Mm.
blow up, or we have things that the girls don't speak up about, but that are
Mm.
actually big deals. And
Have
so,
nothing to do with volleyball.
absolutely, yeah, no, it's about boys and
Yes,
prom. And
so true.
um, she like talked to my best friend, and my best friend and her hung out, and they didn't include me.
Hmm.
And what am I supposed to do? You
Things that
know,
could be fixed with just communication.
absolutely. And so, um, you know, being able to sit down when a girl is just at her mental breaking point from stress, from physical exhaustion from playing, and being able to just talk through what is stressing her out with her, we resolved many issues because of that. And even when a kid would get mad at their coach, usually I'm the one that goes and talks to them because, you know, I am an adult, but I am also the one who will listen. And
Yes.
so I end up becoming the middleman to be like, I understand your frustration. And maybe the coach is wrong in some ways, but you were also wrong in some ways. You don't talk to an adult like that. Um, but making sure that the kid understood, one, that you have to learn to communicate and talk through things for yourself, but also knowing that, you know, being in a team like this, it is going to be challenging because it's just like you want to bite your brother's head off, if you're around each other too much. It doesn't mean you can't move past it and still, you know, play together and win together, or still be friends at the end of the day. And you can still work with someone and not like them,
Mm.
but you don't let that affect your performance.
That's adults now that need to hear that. We
Oh,
still
yes,
struggle.
girl. Yes.
We struggle to work well with people we don't like. So it's funny, like
Absolutely.
the things that the girls, because and I say girls because we're working with
Because
high
girls.
school
Yeah.
girls, but it's like the stuff that they go through. We have experienced it when we were in high school, or we still experience it as adults, and it's like taking
Every
it
day.
our own advice. That's the hard.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And the biggest thing that I noticed with the girls, especially the ones that I never knew that were, because I teach freshmen, I've always taught freshmen. Yeah, pray for me.
Yeah.
So I never had some of the girls that were older
Mhm.
that we had on the team, and so I was brand new meeting them. But very quickly they warmed up to me because I talked to them about my high school experience, and I talked to them about the
Mhm.
different things I've done with playing volleyball. And they started to really um not necessarily appreciate me, but they started to,
Respect you more.
yes, because I also share with them, like my volleyball experience is not like they are 10 times more experienced than I am in volleyball.
Mm.
You know, I played in middle school, but I did not play in high school because the environment of the team in my high school was terrible, and I was already getting bullied before we even had tryouts. It was during the summer season, and that was not the area I wanted to be in high school. And so I didn't play until I was in college, and I was playing intramurals, and then I played with you when I moved to Kansas City. And so I've never had that really competitive training, and they all had. And so a lot of times at the beginning when it wasn't, really intense practices, like I got out there and I was doing the drills with them and trying to learn. And like
I
For
love
them, like I was like, I'm gonna learn how to jump serve. I'm gonna do it. Because
yeah.
when I was in middle school, I couldn't even overhand serve. So
Mm.
I was like, I'm gonna do this. And so like to have them see my progression and my knowledge was also very, I think, enlightening to them because they see, yes, you are the adult, but you're not necessarily this expert. And that's kind of cool. We can learn things together type thing. And they really appreciated that, I think.
I think that is very unique and special. I think, I mean, obviously, there's thousands of coaches out, hundreds of thousands, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
coaches out there, right? And coaching is an art, it's not a science. And
Mhm.
it really is authentic to who you are and just your whole vibe. So the fact that that worked well for you and that was you being authentically you and it
Mhm.
still paid off and it worked in your favor, it goes to show that there's no correct way of finding success and seeing it. It's just really like
Yeah.
building relationships. Obviously, like there's a skill component that needs to be taught, but you have
Mhm.
to leverage as a coach like what your strengths and weaknesses are. And it sounds like you really leverage yours. And I think that is so cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was just brutally honest with them. I was like, I am not the person to teach you the skills. I know the basics from 7th grade, y'all, and that's it. But I'm gonna help you do everything else. You need help with your schoolwork before we go to a game? I
Yeah.
can do that. Like those
That
kinds
I
of
think
things.
no, they make
Yeah.
they make the world of a difference. I had my assistant coach, she told me, like there's three um ways to go about coaching. There's the personal relationship, there's the expert, and then there's someone that just uses their authority based upon the title that they have. And like the three ways of leadership, that's what they're called. And when sometimes as we reflect, like a lot of coaches they lead or they coach by being the expert. Like that's common, right? Because the higher up you go, the more elite you go. It's all about strategy because everybody's good. So it's
Right.
about
It's
how
not
smart
mhm.
are you, right?
It's
But
not
then
how good can you pass the ball because everyone passes the ball. Like,
everybody passes ball.
yeah.
Everyone does. If we look at college volleyball, Nebraska, Texas, they're all good. They're like Texas girls from senior year, a couple years ago, they're playing pro right now, right? Everybody's good. So a lot of the times coaches are leading with that expert, that their expertise. And then you have like people that are new and just coaching. In your instance, like you're leading by relationship. And
Mhm.
I think like and then you even see the people that are just leading by their title a lot of the times don't have, I think, the greatest impact because they're just leading by, oh, I'm the head coach. But sometimes they're not even like experts in what they and in the
Right.
sport, or sometimes they struggle to build that relationship, or maybe they're creating a good atmosphere out of their authority, but kids are not really vibing with the experience. And so there's so many ways to go about it. But I feel like what makes good coaches is someone who puts relationship first, and
I
then from
agree.
there, all the others follow.
Because if a kid can't trust you, if a kid does not respect you, you are going to get half the effort that you would if they do.
For sure. Well, then even then, if kids like you, they don't care how much you know. They care about like the fact that you
Do you
care about
care? Oh,
them.
yeah.
And they'll believe anything you
Anything
get
that
from
comes
them.
out of your mouth.
Yeah, you be like, go run down that brick wall, and they're gonna run down the brick wall if they love you. So
Absolutely. Head first. Yes. Hmm.
head first. Oh my goodness. So I have like so many questions. But just to kind of like go back to this being young and a female coach,
Hmm.
how do you feel? Well, I guess you kind of touched on this, like but how do you feel that you relate to them, like to your players? Um, and how does that help your coaching?
Um, really, because of my experience or lack thereof of volleyball, it was really cool because I could see their struggle and I completely understood
Mm,
because I know that I would be struggling out there learning it for the first time because I also never even learned some of that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Um, but also, I mean, being a high school teacher, I see the stuff that those kids go through all the time. and I know the kind of stuff that they have it going on at home. And so being that teacher role, it really it really opened my eyes to understanding where they come from and knowing that the game on the court is not the only battle those girls have.
Yeah.
And so just being able to share in that and share some of my own battles as an adult or as a high schooler when I was in high school, things that I had to go through, I think it helped break down a lot of walls that they have that you are just going to tell me what to do. You don't get it, you know,
Yeah.
and being willing to share that kind of stuff, um, I think is what allowed a lot of the girls to start trusting me very early.
Hmm. Have you said you coached for 1 year.
Mhm.
Would you do it again?
Um, if I didn't have a second job now, I
Mhm.
would think about it. Yeah. Um, I would, now that I know what goes into coaching,
Yeah.
I think knowing the personalities of the people I'm working with adult wise is really important to me now because like you and I talked about, anyone could be experts. And it's about what kind of a program you want to build. It's about what kind of um, vibe you want to have with the team. You know, are you more of a positive person? Are you someone who's going to, you know, yes, you got to get better, but you are making progress. Like, are you the kind of person who's going to encourage the kids? And so for me, depending on if I agreed with, the value set and the way that a program was going, like I would be down to be out there again if I didn't also have a second job that I work part time. But I mean, yeah, like because I still want to learn more. Like I want to be able to get back out there on the court, like with you, if we ever have free time as an adult, and be able to freaking jump serve. Like that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do those kinds of things and not feel like a little infant in my volleyball skill journey. So,
I think the best, like I said, the best coaches are also ones that are willing to learn. And just the fact that you're willing to learn, but more importantly, the relationships you've built, I just think that that's leaving an impact that's, sowing seeds, and you never know what the girls are gonna be when 10 years from now they're gonna, or you never know, like they could end up coaching, right? And they'll look back and be like, oh my
yeah.
gosh, I had the best coach when I was in high school. She did drills with us. I swear my high schoolers would probably like love it if I did their workouts with them because I probably should. Probably should. I've done I did like I'll play with them, but aside from like actually doing the workouts, I'm not doing that. So I should. I should.
Well, it just makes you think, um, just how something little like that every now and then makes such a huge impact on them. Because you don't have to do it every day either. Like
It's true.
we always before season starts, we always do like a blue and white game, just our scrimmage, right? But then after the blue and white game, we do coaches versus varsity or versus seniors. And they were a little bitter, but we won. So
Ah,
I
you guys
mean,
won.
oh yes. Oh yes, we
What?
won. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
So I mean, for us to get out there, even just that one time, oh my gosh, the girls were so hyped for their next game. They were all so ready. They were ready for practice the next day, like because just getting to enjoy the game of volleyball with your coach and not from your coach's
Hmm.
standpoint is so different.
Enjoying the sport of volleyball with your coach and not for your coach.
Yeah.
I love that. That needs to be a quote, Kiersten. I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down. I love that. I think that's like how you allow kids to keep loving the sport because
Mhm.
oftentimes a lot of kids stop playing a sport because of burnout or because they had a horrible experience. And sometimes coaches, we can be so like production heavy that we burn out the kids and they start to enjoy the sport. Like at the end of the day, it's not only about winning, like it's about having fun, in my
Right.
opinion. And did you grow? Did you grow beyond the court? Did you grow personally, academically? Because especially in the high school space, like we see kids 5, sometimes 6 times out of a 7-day week. That is
Ugh, yeah.
20 hours minimum that we spend with them. So we want them to love it because as coaches, like when we coach because we love the sport, not because it pays us well, not because, we're
Mm,
just,
heard that. Yeah.
you know, especially all the other things that come along with coaching, from the parents to the families, the school, the
Mm.
grades, the
Welcome to
management,
teaching. Yeah. Hmm.
everything.
You get
So
it all. Like they are not compartmentalizing for you. They are still humans. They still have everything else that they deal with on their plate, just like you do.
yeah,
And to realize that as an adult and be able to show that to them, you can't really do much better than that.
yeah, that's a good point. We are coming toward the end of our time together. But before we close out, I want to ask you, Kiersten, because you said a lot of great things today. And I've learned a lot about you too that has inspired me as I continue coaching. But what would you say is one thing that you hope your players take away from the time that they had with you?
Um, honestly, I would hope that my players knew that you should never ever let someone snuff out your fire.
Mm,
Um, the end of my coaching time was not a great last few weeks. Um, and so part of my time with the girls was cut short. But my goal was to make sure the girls still knew that it doesn't change how I feel about them, it doesn't change how I feel about the game, and that, okay, this happened, I'm going to move on. Like, I'm going to find something else. And then I went and got a second job, um, to fill my time. Like, I'm going to still move on even when I come up against a barrier.
yeah,
And
resilience.
so even even when they're playing a game and they're down by 15, like, you still do not let someone, an opponent, a coach, anyone, put out your fire, because they ain't going to come light it back up.
They aren't.
No, you're the only one who can do it.
Mm, I love that. To thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
As you've been talking, just a lot of things have resonated with me, from the empathy and compassion that you've shown, the resilience, the mentorship that you've given kids, and just being able to walk with them through the sport and enjoying it with them. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
not just forcing them to enjoy it for you so you can get what
Yes.
you want as a coach. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really big on quotes, and one of the quotes that we'll end today with is by Henry Ford, and it says, if there is any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. And I think what you shared about just being real with them, like, I don't know everything, but what I do know is that I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to do that and walk that with you and be on that journey with you. So thank you, Kiersten, for your time and for also just giving back to the youth and for being a good role model and being someone that they can relate to.
Well, I mean, I don't know what else to do besides do that. So, like you said, I'm just trying to show them me.
I love that. Okay. Well, that concludes our time today. Um, until next time.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.